In this video, we will cover how to set up the catalog of activities that you will normally use to create your meeting itineraries. You go to that area via the second button here, Meeting Activity Catalog. And we're going to start out with no activities, and I'll go through and create all the activities necessary for a simple Toastmasters meeting. Hit Insert to add a new activity. We're going to call this first one Sergeant at Arms. The duration will be 2 minutes, and I'll come back and explain these lights in a moment or so. And the assignment type, your club may have a Sergeant at Arms that opens every single meeting, or you may choose to have it assigned automatically. If a task is assigned automatically, you leave this as automatic. If it's something that's assigned manually, you can change it to manual here, and then choose it in the itinerary so that it will not be automatically chosen for you. You can also create an activity type, and you'll see that in a moment or so, where you can copy from another activity. Finally, you may have activities which have no assignment of Toastmasters whatsoever, for example, a break. In this case, we will assign the Sergeant at Arms automatically. It also prompts for the level. This is asking for the difficulty of the particular task. If it's a manually assigned task, you can leave it at 0 or set any other value even if it's manually assigned. This is more informational at this point, although it does control automatic assignments, so it tries to find a member which best fits that particular difficulty. Sergeant at Arms is perhaps a level 3 task. And we'll hit OK. Next up is the chair, and they will have perhaps 3 minutes of opening comments, and we'll leave the lights off for this as well. And I'd like to have the chairperson's name highlighted on the list, that particular task. Again, assignment type will be automatic, and the difficulty is probably a 7. And notice now that we have a highlighted entry here. The next thing we'll add is introduction of guests, or perhaps better, guest introductions. And the duration might be 2 minutes, and we don't need to highlight that. Now the assignment type we'll use in this case is copy from another activity, because in the club we've decided that the Sergeant at Arms will be responsible for guest introductions. So whoever gets assigned to Sergeant at Arms for a given meeting will also automatically be assigned to guest introductions. You'll notice with this particular entry, it did not ask for the level, because it knows that if it's automatically copying it from something else, the level is meaningless. Next up, let's have table topics. And that probably would take, and in this case, this is the initial duration of a given task. If there's multiple segments to a given activity, you might want to specify a shorter duration for the first one, and then additional durations for other pieces. In this case, we'll use it to describe the entire table topic session, except for perhaps the evaluations that are going to go on afterwards, because that will be assigned to another individual. So let's set this to something like 15 minutes. And because this describes the whole period, again, the lights will not apply to these particular cases, but we could have some additional descriptions down here and specify table topics, topic speeches will be timed at with a green light at 30 seconds, yellow at 45 seconds, and red at 60 seconds. Next up, we will have a table topics evaluator. Enter. And their job is to evaluate all of the table topic speeches, and they will take, perhaps 5 minutes to go through and evaluate all those speeches, depending upon the number of speakers. The assignment type again can be automatic. We will set the difficulty here to, we'll set it here for 4. And I believe we didn't set a level here, so this one is perhaps a 5. It could be argued that giving an evaluation is more difficult than running the session, but again, those numbers are arbitrary and you can set them to whatever seems most appropriate to you. Next, let's add a formal speaker. And in this case, it's going to be, we'll set it up as a standard speech of 5 to 7 minutes, which means the total time allocated, we will actually allocate as 9 minutes because that gives enough time for a minute to introduce the speaker and set out the criteria, and then another minute afterwards for the members of the club to give them some feedback. So we'll set the lights for 5, 6, and 7. Even though the total duration of the event, of the activity, is 9 minutes. And this will be a manual assignment. And then we also need an evaluator for the speaker. And that will be perhaps 3 minutes. And if you wanted to, you could do the lights for this as well. Assignment type again is automatic, and the difficulty is, we'll say 6 to give an evaluation for a speech. Next, we can have a general evaluator, and general evaluator. And the duration for this is perhaps 10 minutes, and we'll set the lights at 8, 9, and 10. And automatic, and this being a difficult task, we'll set that to expert. And there we have a basic Toastmasters meeting. You'll notice you can see the various assignment types. We did miss one thing. Let's add a break. And the break will be for 15 minutes in the middle of the meeting for people to chat and discuss things. We will set the assignment type to not applicable because there is never a Toastmaster assigned to do a break. This is just a shared activity for all. And because we added that, it automatically shows up at the bottom. We can then move that up into the proper location by pressing the Move Up button or the Control Up key combination. So we'll move it up so that it's after table topics but before the speaker.